This new video just in from 29 Palms is about a dozen white transport buses, presumably filled with hundreds of deployed Marines, left the 29 Palms military base tonight. These are combat troops who the Pentagon says have been trained in de-escalation and the rules of the use of force. They're headed toward Los Angeles, but their final destination not publicly revealed. A statement from the U.S. Northern Command says the Marines of the 2nd Battalion, 7th Marine Regiment will be working with the National Guard troops already deployed here to, quote, protect federal personnel and federal property in the greater Los Angeles area.
As you guys know, protests have been raging throughout Los Angeles and now other cities for the past couple of days now. And last night, I put out a video about the protest in LA, and in that video, I mentioned that some of what you guys are seeing happen, some of it is happening organically, but some of it is happening inorganically. And when I said that, I'm not sure if everyone fully understood what I meant. So I want to further expand upon that in this video while providing some examples that will give you a better understanding of what I'm talking about. But like for a simple example, sometimes you will see crowds organically gather over time. Let's say there's just a street musician in the street playing the trombone or whatever instrument. First, the audience may start with one, and then another person comes, and then another person comes, and then another person comes. That's kind of how these protests start when they're started organically. So organically, we are seeing some people gather in downtown LA. But inorganically, there are also other people that are being shipped in. Other people that I believe are largely bought and paid for protesters. And yesterday, in the middle of the chaos that was going out, I was watching everything go down on various live streams, watching various mainstream networks and their coverage as well. And some of the reporters on the ground that were following the protest and following the large gatherings of people that kind of organically gathered together, randomly out of nowhere, large crowds of people, 200 or 300, 400 people, were just coming out of nowhere. As the reporters were on the ground covering the situation that's, let's just say, happening right here, out of nowhere, not a organically grown crowd, but just out of nowhere, oh, bam, here's randomly 200 people that probably just hopped off of a bus or something, that were probably just shipped here. In fact, let me go ahead and show you this clip from the news so you guys know what I'm talking about. But before I play that clip, if you guys support the channel, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share this video. Also, if you would like to donate to the channel, you could do so via Cash App or Super Thanks. Obviously, it's not mandatory, but it's always greatly appreciated. Now let's roll that clip, and then I'll be right back with more.
Hey, Trace. Well, this new, random, massive group of protesters just showed up here, hundreds upon hundreds of them. We're walking behind them trying to catch up right now. They've taken over the street. I don't see any LAPD here. They've got like their own vehicle convoy. You'll notice it's all foreign flags. Tommy, if you can just kind of pan off, it's all Mexican flags, Palestinian flags, flags from like El Salvador. It's all foreign. And they have their own little vehicle convoy here. Right now, I don't see a single LAPD officer. Let me turn around and show you how long this convoy goes through downtown LA. You can see all the way in the background, more Mexican flags, more vehicles. I do not know where this group came from. We were chasing an entirely different group earlier with LAPD, and then this one comes out of nowhere. This is even bigger than the initial group we were with when LAPD was pushing them around. So, again, I'm not seeing a single law enforcement officer anywhere. Heads up, watch out for these cars, Tommy. We're going to keep walking down this way and see if we can catch up with them. Yeah, they're shooting fireworks. You might be able to hear that, too. LAPD has a helicopter above us now, so they're going to be watching this. I'm not hearing any sirens or anything yet, still not seeing any cruisers, but they clearly have eyes on this, which is, again, a huge convoy. They keep shooting off fireworks. We're going to keep trying to follow them here. So I would imagine, Trace, it's a matter of time before LAPD tries to respond with some units here, because this is the biggest protest group we've seen of the day so far. And I honestly have no idea where they came from, because we were following that other big group, and then this one just showed up out of nowhere. And again, they've got dozens upon dozens of vehicles all waving flags. They're all part of this convoy. These people are just getting in the back of a truck right here now, a random truck that showed up. They got their sign. So it looks like they're just scooping people up as they go who support them. And again, you see all these Mexican flags and everything. Zero LAPD so far, but they do have a helicopter above us. So, Trace, I'll send it back to you. We're going to keep walking ahead, and we're going to see if we can actually catch up with this big group, because, again, it looked like it was at least 400 to 500 people.
So do you guys understand what I'm saying here? It's like you might have one crowd of people, and I'm not saying that there's not bought and paid for protesters in these crowds as well, but you'll have one crowd of people in front of like a federal building or something. And as the hours go by, people are walking by, people are getting off of work, people are waking up and saying, hey, let's go down there and be a part of that or whatever. And the crowd organically gets bigger. But then, as you guys heard on the literal news, out of nowhere, sometimes these large crowds of people that did not organically gather, they just pop up out of nowhere, already 200 to 300 strong, just come walking right around the block. Now that's some shady stuff. That's some shady stuff, to say the least, but there is a lot of shady stuff going on. If you watched my coverage last night, if you watched one of the videos I put out, we are watching supply drops happen on these live streams. And for the most part, a lot of people aren't even calling it out. The news anchors aren't even calling it out, but it's being caught on live television as well. I'm not sure if people really see or really understand what's happening, because look, there's just a lot going on, right? But if you watch closely, in a lot of these live streams, you will see vehicles pull up and just drop off boatloads worth of supplies. I'm talking about thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of supplies. And I mean, you got to understand that this is a Tuesday now, Monday yesterday. These are weekdays that most people should be at work. Most of these people out there don't have real jobs. They're kicking in the 7-Eleven to steal and loot Gatorades and Yoo-Hoos. Okay? They're stealing Now-a-Laters out of the 7-Eleven. Do you think those people are giving out thousands of dollars worth of supplies, such as face guards and gas masks? And I'm talking about by the dozens, truckloads pulling up with hundreds of face guards and all types of other equipment. And this stuff is getting caught literally on live television. I'm going to show you this clip, but I also have some more information on the person that was driving one of these supply vehicles. And I think that if we could figure out who this guy works for, maybe we could find out who's really funding a lot of this stuff that is going on at these protests. Because, as I keep saying, Some of this is just people organically gathering to protest, but a lot of this is inorganic shenanigans going on that certain government officials, I believe, are most likely involved in, as well as, Soros and all of these other bad actors. But let's go ahead and roll this clip, then I'll be right back.
That doesn't look like food.
Yeah,
and
those
water.
are.
Looks like masks.
Yeah, no, those are masks. Yeah, so people are prepping for some sort of altercation with police as we speak.
Yeah, because, this is a different scene than what
it's an intersection, like I.
Yeah. I mean, we saw
at this intersection, like I said, there's no local police. We've been seeing the burnouts.
A very different scene. And are those hats that you wear that are more like helmets? I mean, this is a worrying sight. I mean, Christina's site, which is like very close by, she was describing a festive atmosphere, and it looked like a lot of folks, including a lot of older folks, who were there for the right reasons.
This guy's tagging the sidewalk, right?
This is troublemakers. You probably don't put on a mask unless you have a plan of not wanting somebody to see your face. And so this is concerning.
Well, the woman who was handing out the masks, you see her quite clearly there in that beige T-shirt. She's not covering her face at all, so I would love to hear from her as to what this is about. Alex, you do bring up the fact that this could be very concerning. It is a Monday and not the weekend, so you're wondering how many people are wanting to stick around through the evening. Matthew, do you get a feel at all for this crowd? You've been out there for the past couple days.
Yeah, it reminds me of when we got to Paramount on Saturday. Here we have another person doing a little bit of a burnout there in the intersection, where you can feel an energy in the air. It's hard to describe, where it just feels like something's going to happen, and you're waiting for it to happen. And you can look around, you see the National Guard in front of the federal building, but as far as this intersection where we're seeing all this take place, there's no local police to be seen.
Yeah.
And we have people handing out masks and gas masks, and we just saw people graffitiing the sidewalk right in front of this truck, and we've seen people doing burnouts in the street, and there's no local law enforcement around.
Let us clarify, because we've been showing a wide shot and from a different angle, a whole lot of officers on the other side of the federal building, almost behind you, and perhaps the visual is obstructed from your point of view. But I can tell you there are many, many, many LAPD cars and officers there that have staged. They are blocking that freeway overpass, so protesters can't get on that overpass like they did yesterday and throw bricks or concrete or scooters down on law enforcement that was below that had cleared the 101 freeway. So perhaps they're not where you are, but there's a lot of them already positioned there. They're not getting caught off guard by a crowd gathered here.
So, I mean, that was quite a shot that we have there of these folks, and your photographer just gave us a great shot of the box that was left behind, which showed the brand of mask. I mean, it's not the kind of thing, thank you for seeing this there. It looks like a bionic shield is what that's called. I mean, that's not the kind of thing that you buy in bulk if you don't plan on doing something.
So here's the guy that was driving that supply vehicle. And we also have his license plate number. I'm not going to show that here because YouTube honestly supports these people more than they support people like me. Okay? YouTube supports the people that are causing chaos on the ground more than they support people like me who will tell the truth about what's happening out there. That's why your support is always appreciated. And I thank all of you who donate to the channel and stuff like that, because a lot of these platforms are not on the side of the truth. So I'm not going to show you that information here, but that information is over on X. Go follow me over there. But I think that if we could figure out whoever this guy is working for, because I doubt that he's delivering thousands of dollars worth of supplies out of the kindness of his heart, whoever is funding him and buying those supplies, I'm telling you, there's most likely a link to who's funding a lot of this chaos on the ground, because a lot of it is highly organized in a way that natural protests are not organized, okay? And it may be hard to spot some of that out in the middle of all of the chaos that is going on, because there's a lot of moving parts. There's fire over here, explosions over there, people chanting everywhere. But if you pay attention, you'll see how organized some of this stuff is. So I think that this dude and the other people that are riding around dropping those supplies, those people are the main link that we have right now to whoever is higher up funding this chaos on the ground out there. And I'm sure that the mayor and the governor have their hands all over a lot of this stuff. And it really sickens me every time I hear them speak, especially when they condemn the violence, because you could tell in their tone and in the way they talk, they're really encouraging this stuff. I think that they love nothing more than seeing chaos on the streets, and they all try to tie it to Trump, and they try to tie it to this, they try to tie it to that, instead of taking any accountability at all. And that may work on some of the people in California who I guess keep voting for these weirdos, but it's not working on a lot of the other people in America. I can tell you for sure that a lot of us all around America are watching in horror at what is happening, and everyone is thinking, hey, we don't want that happening here in our town. How can we stop that from happening in our town? We definitely need to get these violent people that are going crazy in the streets the hell out of here, because they're not making our communities any safer. It's the exact opposite. So, I don't know how things are going to turn out, but I expect there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff happening once again today, and I'll be here to talk about that later. For now, though, you guys let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.